Hey everyone, welcome back to the Freelance Mama. I am Kelly and it's my mission to help busy, stressed out corporate mums to get out of that corporate world and to launch their own freelance businesses so that they can break free from the stress of that corporate life and still earn a really good income working from home. So today I wanted to talk a bit about that transition out of the corporate world and what that's like, and to sort of address some of the concerns you might have about making that transition. Because I know when I went to leave the corporate world that I was concerned about some of these things, and I wish I had somebody there who could give me some reassurance that it'd all be okay and that there was a way that this could work for me. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the thing that I think that is probably the biggest barrier to moving out of corporate and into a freelance career. And I think that is that a lot of us who have been in corporate or who are in corporate right now, we have this concern that if we leave corporate, we need to start something completely new and we're going to waste all of the skills that we have from the years and years of study and the years of working in our profession. And that's just not the case. So you can take the skills that you have and use those skills to start your own freelance business. Now, your freelance business might not necessarily look exactly the same as it did when you were working, in your job. So for me, as an example, I was a lawyer, and I thought that when I left working as a lawyer, I was not going to be able to use the skills that I had, that was the end, that I was finished with the legal profession and that I would have to move away and find a completely new type of business to start. And that's pretty overwhelming when you're in that position. And what I didn't realize at the time was that even if I didn't want to work as a lawyer, I still had heaps of really valuable skills that I could take and that I could turn into a freelance business. So for me, what that looked like was doing things like research work, doing admin work, doing invoicing and that kind of thing, helping other lawyers to get their files organized, things that were quite helpful to have legal knowledge on. For example, organizing court documents. It's quite good to have a knowledge of how those work and what kind of court documents there are, or even just indexing that kind of document. There's a lot of things that it's really helpful to have had a legal background and to do that. So effectively what I ended up doing was like virtual assistant work. So working for somebody else, but providing them with a really specific range of assistance that was helpful to another lawyer who needed help doing those things. As a professional person, often there's times when we're really, really busy, and it'd be really great to have somebody who can step in and help. And that's exactly what you can do in a freelance capacity. You can fill in those gaps. You can help busy people to get these jobs done. And there definitely is demand for that kind of work. So you don't necessarily have to do exactly what you're doing right now, but you can take the skills that you've got and turn those into a successful freelance business. And also, you have a lot of skills too. Even if you decide, well, look, I'm completely over my profession. I don't want to work for another person in my profession. I'm done with this industry. Look, you'll have heaps of skills that are transferable. So again, if I talk about my example, so, a lot of what we do in law is a lot of writing, a lot of, proofreading, a lot of those kind of skills, a lot of organizational type work, so you could take those skills and use those skills, with a lot of the stuff that I did, both with what my law work and I had another business as well, was that I got to know how to do invoicing. So, you could do invoicing. You can take the skills that you had and turn them into a different kind of freelance business. So you don't have to feel like, well, if I leave this, then, all of these skills are wasted. They're not, because you've got so many different skills and they can be applied again in your industry in a different way, or they can be applied to a different industry or a different type of business, and you can still use the skills that you have. As an example, you might be like a really good writer and you could turn that into a ghostwriting sort of a business or a copywriting kind of a business. There's all sorts of different things that you can use your skills for if you want to, do stuff a little bit differently. The next on my list, I wanted to sort of address the point that you can get paid for those skills. So I think it's kind of intimidating when you walk away from a corporate career and a corporate salary and think, oh gosh, like how am I going to earn money, now? Because, when you start a new business, often it takes a bit of time to be able to get generating money with a business. But with a freelance business, because you're selling your skills hours for dollars, you can quite quickly get generating a really good income from that. And often you can earn a really good hourly rate doing that. That was one thing that I found that was the difference between doing another kind of business and doing my freelance legal support work, was that I could get paid a really good hourly rate doing legal research, because it just saved that person a lot of time. They could on-bill that time to a client, and they could charge a good rate to do that, and even add markup to that if they wanted to. So I was able to charge quite a high hourly rate, which meant that I was able to earn a really good income quite fast. Whereas with trying other types of businesses that I tried, like a product-based business, for example, the margins are really, really small. So you have to be able to build up a really big following or build up a really big customer base before you can actually make a decent amount of money doing that. Whereas when you're selling your time on an hourly basis, that just doesn't have to be the case. You can make a really good amount of money with just one client. You don't need thousands of followers on social media. You don't need a huge email list or anything like that. You can just find one person and you can be earning a really good income almost immediately with a freelance kind of a business. So I wanted to address that because, again, that can be a scary thing moving out of the corporate world as well. Then another thing too I wanted to address was the fact that you can do freelancing work around your family. Now, when I was in corporate, it was pretty hard. A lot of my job was an office job, 9 to 5, kind of an office job. And, then of course you've got to fit all of your family life around your office job. So it means all of the life admin, all of the other things have to be done in the evenings or in the weekends. Whereas with freelance work, what I've found is that it's really flexible. So you're able to do your work and work it around your family. So, and in doing that, it doesn't stop you from being able to still do the work. You might think, oh, well, people will be put off if I can't do the work in a 9 to 5 sort of time. Well, that's just not the case, because for one thing, you might not be working for clients in your exact time zone. I just heard of an example today. I was having coffee with some business ladies and one of the ladies in that group was talking about a freelancer who does work on the other side of the world. So they're working here in New Zealand during the daytime, but their client is somewhere else in the world where they're in a different time zone. So they're able to do the work in the time that suits them, and it suits their client because they can do it overnight and have it back to them the next morning. So isn't that amazing? It's the kind of opportunities you have in a freelance world where we can actually then work anywhere in the world for anyone, and we can make it work to time zones that suit us. If we wanted to, we could do it sort of the opposite, and we could do, if we have our children around during the daytime, we have a baby, for example, maybe we might choose to do our work in the evening. So baby might go to bed at 7 o'clock, and we might sit down and do 3 hours of work in the evening. So you can make it work around your schedule, and often because you are earning those higher hourly rates, you can actually do less hours too. So that can be kind of the amazing thing about doing a freelance business, is that you're making really good money from it yourself, rather than the profits being made by your employer. So you might be surprised to find that actually you can do less hours and still earn really, really good money, from doing that. So just a few things I wanted to address today around making that transition out of corporate and addressing some of the things that might concern you, or you might feel like, it's not really possible for me. And I wanted to show you that it is possible. It's worked really well for me. And I know lots of other mums who have gone through this same process and who have been able to do really well making the transition out of corporate and into a freelance business, and the amazing level of flexibility that provides for them. If you'd like to keep following along with the journey, I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel, or to my channel, should I say. I release a new video every Friday. And so if you subscribe, you'll get you'll get to know when the next video comes out. I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook as The Freelance Mama, so just at The Freelance Mama on those places. So I would love to get to know you. Feel free to jump onto my socials, leave me a comment, send me a DM. Would love to talk to you, and I will see you again next week.